Happiness is often viewed as a fleeting emotion, something you chase after, only to find that it slips through your fingers when conditions change. You may believe that happiness is dependent on external circumstances, your job, relationships, possessions, or achievements. But this reliance on external factors creates a fragile foundation for your well-being, subject to the whims of the world around you. To truly be free from conditional happiness, you need to understand its roots, recognize its limitations, and cultivate a mindset that allows happiness to be a stable, internal state rather than a variable dependent on circumstances. At the core of conditional happiness lies the misconception that external achievements or possessions can provide lasting fulfillment. You might feel happy when you get a promotion, buy a new house, or go on a vacation, but these feelings are often transient. Once the initial excitement fades, a sense of emptiness or dissatisfaction may creep in, prompting you to seek the next external source of happiness. This cycle keeps you caught in a perpetual chase, never truly satisfied, because your happiness is conditional on external events that are beyond your control. Recognizing this pattern is the first step towards liberation. To break free from this cycle, you need to develop awareness of your internal reactions to external circumstances. Observe how your mood shifts based on what happens around you. When something positive occurs, do you feel elevated? When faced with setbacks, do you experience frustration or despair? By becoming mindful of these responses, you start to see that your happiness is often a reaction rather than an intrinsic state. This awareness creates space for you to choose your response instead of being carried away by fleeting emotions. Understanding that external conditions are inherently unstable can help you detach from their grip. Nothing in the external world remains constant. They change, fade, or are lost over time. Clinging to external sources of happiness is like trying to grasp water. The tighter you hold, the more it slips away. Instead, focus on cultivating internal stability, inner peace, resilience, and contentment that does not depend on external validation or possessions. Developing this internal foundation is crucial in freeing yourself from conditional happiness. One powerful way to cultivate internal happiness is through mindfulness and meditation. These practices teach you to observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment, creating distance from the constant chatter of the mind. When you meditate regularly, you begin to recognize that your thoughts about happiness are often fleeting and conditioned. You can learn to observe the transient nature of your emotions and accept them without attachment. Over time, when you focus on what you already have, your health, loved ones, opportunities, you cultivate appreciation rather than longing. Gratitude shifts your perspective from scarcity to abundance, fostering a sense of contentment that is less dependent on external validation. Regularly reflecting on what you are grateful for rewires your mind towards positivity and helps you find happiness within rather than outside yourself. Developing a sense of purpose is also central to experiencing lasting happiness. When your actions align with your values and you engage in meaningful pursuits, happiness becomes more stable and less conditional. Whether it's helping others, creating art, or pursuing knowledge, engaging in activities that resonate with your core beliefs provides a deep sense of fulfillment. Purpose anchors your happiness internally, making it less vulnerable to external fluctuations. Detaching from the need for approval is another critical step. Society often conditions you to seek validation from others through social media, praise, or recognition. While positive feedback can boost mood temporarily, relying on it for happiness keeps you dependent on external opinions. Cultivate self-approval by recognizing your intrinsic worth and embracing your authentic self. When you stop seeking approval from others, your happiness becomes an internal matter, rooted in self-acceptance rather than external affirmation. Practicing compassion and kindness, both towards yourself and others, can significantly enhance your internal state. When you treat yourself with understanding and patience, you reduce self-criticism and build resilience. Extending kindness to others fosters connection and a sense of community, which are fundamental to human happiness. These qualities nurture an inner peace that is not contingent upon external circumstances, but rooted in genuine human connection and self-awareness. Developing emotional resilience is fundamental to being free from conditional happiness. Life inevitably presents challenges, setbacks, and losses. Instead of reacting with despair, resilience allows you to navigate difficulties with equanimity. Building resilience involves cultivating optimistic thinking, maintaining hope, and developing coping skills. It also involves reframing setbacks as opportunities for growth rather than failures. When you see adversity as part of life's natural rhythm, your happiness becomes less dependent on circumstances and more about your internal capacity to adapt. Another vital aspect is practicing non-attachment. Non-attachment is about loving without clinging, appreciating without grasping. It involves recognizing that everything in life is temporary: relationships, possessions, even your own identity. By practicing non-attachment, this does not mean you become indifferent. Rather, you engage fully with life while maintaining a healthy perspective that nothing is permanent. This attitude cultivates a sense of inner peace that remains stable amid life's inevitable fluctuations. Engaging in regular self-reflection helps you identify and challenge the beliefs and thought patterns that keep you trapped in conditional happiness. Journaling, contemplation, or dialogue with a trusted friend can reveal underlying assumptions such as, "I can only be happy if I succeed," or "My happiness depends on others' approval." Once identified, these beliefs can be examined critically and replaced with healthier, more realistic perspectives. This cognitive shift is crucial in transforming your understanding of happiness from external to internal. Learning to live in the present moment is fundamental. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain. Only the present is real. When your mind is preoccupied with regrets or anxieties about what might happen, happiness becomes elusive. Mindfulness practices teach you to anchor your awareness in the present, appreciating each moment as it unfolds. This presence cultivates gratitude, reduces stress, and fosters a deep sense of contentment that is not conditional on external events. Creating boundaries around your emotional and mental well-being is essential. Limit exposure to negativity, whether from social media, toxic relationships, or overconsumption of news. Protecting your mental space allows you to nurture positive feelings and reduces the influence of external negativity on your inner peace. Prioritize activities and relationships that uplift you and align with your values, cultivating an environment conducive to internal happiness. Developing a spiritual practice or philosophical outlook can also support your journey towards unconditional happiness. Whether through religion, meditation, philosophy, or connection with nature, engaging in practices that transcend the material world helps you find meaning beyond external circumstances. Recognizing your interconnectedness with all beings can foster compassion, humility, and a sense of belonging, which are powerful anchors for inner peace. Accept that the pursuit of happiness itself can become a trap if it becomes an obsession. Instead of chasing happiness as a goal, focus on living authentically, cultivating virtues like patience, humility, and gratitude. When happiness is a byproduct of a meaningful life, rather than the primary aim, it tends to be more stable and enduring. Let go of the need to constantly improve or attain more. Appreciate what is, and find joy in simply being. Recognize that suffering is an inherent part of life. Embracing this reality allows you to develop compassion for yourself and others. When you accept suffering as a natural aspect of existence, it loses its power to destabilize your inner peace. Instead, you see challenges as opportunities for growth and deepen your understanding of impermanence. This perspective fosters resilience and a sense of equanimity that is independent of external conditions. Practice humility and humility's counterpart, gratitude. Humility helps you accept your limitations and imperfections, reducing ego-driven desires that fuel conditional happiness. Gratitude keeps you anchored in the present and appreciative of life's gifts, big and small. Together, these qualities create a balanced outlook that emphasizes internal growth over external validation. Understand that true happiness is not a destination, but a journey. It's cultivated moment by moment through conscious choices, attitudes, and practices. Align your daily life with principles that nurture internal well-being, such as kindness, patience, honesty, and mindfulness. Over time, these habits reshape your internal landscape, making happiness a natural, steady state rather than a fleeting emotion. Incorporate acts of service and altruism into your life. Helping others without expectation fosters a sense of purpose and connection, which are vital for lasting happiness. When you give freely, you experience a sense of abundance and fulfillment that cannot be achieved through material possessions alone. Generosity and compassion are powerful antidotes to the conditional happiness rooted in self-centered pursuits. Recognize the importance of self-care and emotional honesty. Attending to your physical, emotional, and mental needs creates a stable foundation for happiness. Acknowledge your feelings without judgment and give yourself permission to experience joy, sadness, or anger without suppression. This authentic engagement with your inner world enhances self-awareness and promotes a balanced, unconditional happiness. Developing patience is essential, especially when confronting setbacks or difficult emotions. Recognize that deep change takes time and that cultivating internal happiness is an ongoing process. Be gentle with yourself during setbacks, understanding that progress is not linear. Patience nurtures resilience and helps you maintain a steady course even when external conditions seem unfavorable. Engage in creative expression, art, music, writing, dance, as a means of connecting with your inner self. Creativity allows you to process emotions, explore your identity, and find joy in the act of creation itself. These activities foster a sense of flow and presence, anchoring you in the moment and cultivating happiness that is not conditional on external outcomes. Build a community of like-minded individuals who support your growth and well-being. Meaningful relationships provide emotional nourishment, encouragement, and shared purpose. When surrounded by people who value authenticity and kindness, your internal happiness is reinforced and sustained. Cultivating such connections helps you realize that happiness is often intertwined with love and belonging, which are rooted within. Avoid comparing yourself to others. Comparison fuels envy, dissatisfaction, and a sense of inadequacy. Instead, cultivate self-compassion and focus on your unique journey. Recognize your inherent worth, independent of external achievements or social status. This internal validation is a cornerstone of unconditional happiness, freeing you from the trap of constant comparison. Understand that attachment to outcomes such as success, recognition, or material gains fuels conditional happiness. Practice detachment by appreciating the process rather than fixating on the result. When you let go of rigid expectations, you open yourself to experiencing life fully and joyfully, regardless of external outcomes. This attitude fosters inner peace and resilience. Embrace simplicity and minimalism. Reducing clutter, both physical and mental, clarifies your priorities and allows you to focus on what truly matters. Simplicity cultivates contentment by removing unnecessary desires and distractions, helping you find happiness in the present moment and in the essentials of life. Create rituals and routines that nurture your well-being. Consistent practices such as morning meditation, gratitude journaling, or evening reflection anchor your day in mindfulness and appreciation. These rituals reinforce internal stability and remind you of the importance of cultivating happiness from within. Recognize that happiness is a state of being cultivated through conscious living. It is not something to be acquired or achieved, but something to be uncovered and nurtured. When you align your actions with your values, live authentically, and practice mindfulness, happiness becomes an inherent part of your daily existence rather than a conditional reward. Remember that setbacks and failures are inevitable. Instead of viewing them as obstacles, see them as opportunities to learn and deepen your understanding of life's impermanence. Developing a perspective that embraces imperfection allows you to accept yourself wholly and maintain internal happiness despite external challenges. Practicing forgiveness towards yourself and others is vital. Holding on to resentment or regret creates emotional burdens that cloud your inner peace. Forgiveness frees you from the past and opens space for compassion and love, which are essential to unconditional happiness. Finally, cultivate a sense of awe and wonder towards life. Engage with nature, art, music, or spiritual practices that evoke a sense of connection to something greater than yourself. These experiences remind you of the vastness and beauty of existence, grounding your happiness in a deep appreciation for the present moment and your place within the universe. Being free from conditional happiness involves a continual process of inner work, self-awareness, and conscious choices. It requires letting go of attachments and expectations, embracing impermanence, and cultivating virtues that foster inner peace. As you deepen your understanding and practice these principles, happiness transitions from a temporary state dependent on external factors to a stable, enduring presence rooted within you. This freedom allows you to live fully, authentically, and joyfully, regardless of external circumstances, embodying a state of being that is resilient, peaceful, and truly your own.